Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Nice.
I can't help it.
Oh, brilliant. Right, flanges. My favourite thing. I've been having a play, and I've found a couple of things that are really cool that I thought we could have a look at. Yes, so I'm a bit excited this week.
For anyone unsure of what's going on at the moment, there has been a long search for a flanger for Dan. Not typically, historically, the electric Mistress down there, Electro-Harmonix, has been his favourite, and you've been in and out of trying to find things. Mm-hmm. Thought you'd found one, didn't you, in the whatever that is, which isn't on the board today.
The Roxanne.
Yeah, the Roxanne.
Which is great.
You used a Mooer Elect Lady for a while, which you still happily use.
Yep.
So if you want to hear either of those, watch the previous Flanger show, because they are in that show. And rather than go over too much old ground here, we thought we would try and do some new stuff. So in and out and in and out. And then you told us a few weeks ago that this was coming out from Thorpy. The Camoflange, which I've just worked out why it's a chameleon. Which took me a little while.
Okay.
Because the chameleons change colour, right?
They do.
Yes. And then this awesome Komo, is it Rebi or Rebi?
Yes.
Is that two E's or is that just one long E?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to say Rebi.
The Dreadbox.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
And then some other stuff. So that's the context of today.
Yeah, also Retrosonic has brought out the Flanger, which is basically, their Mistress, their take on a Mistress. And anyone that remembers my trip to Japan where I bought the BF1 and the ADA Flanger has popped up a few times. So I've been looking for my Flanger because the Mistress live, it just doesn't work for me. It's for reasons that we'll see very soon. They're just not robust enough to stick in the board and throw in the back of the car. Yeah. Yeah. So
these are all analog?
All analog.
Probably not that one.
No, I think the Spark's analog.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't know. What we don't have is one from a sort of digital multi-effects device.
I mean, I can throw that on at the end if you want to hear it.
But you're not a fan of that?
No, not in the slightest.
What's the main reason for you not being a fan of that?
I think the amount of filtering that they need to do to get those things sounding right affects the frequencies that I need in my flanger.
Because you like that. It's the same with chorus, isn't it? You
gotta have that.
You like the high end in there.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the Mistress. Actually, it's probably a really good place to start to show you what I've always loved about the Mistress. So okay, amps we're using today. We've got my Matchless HC30 and the orange. Now this is new. What?
Again, for any newcomers, welcome. When Dan introduces the amps, he never knows what they are, so we just let him suffer with that for a minute there, unless it says it on the front and he can read it out, which is fine. It is a Tremlord 30.
Right.
Actually, having said that and lambasted you for not knowing, I better check. Tremlord 30. It's 4 EL84s. It's got spring reverb, tremolo, 2 switchable speeds.
Sorry, 4 EL84s.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's loud and headroomy, or it's
still got the old tagger on it.
Less loud. It's still stop. Don't look. Can't even. You've seen enough of that.
It's enough of that one.
So Orange Tremlord 30. We don't have enough orange amps on the show. We thought we would include that, and I've been really pleased with it this morning. It sounds really good so far.
It's sounding lovely.
It has a special design speaker in it as well. But anyway, this isn't really about that. But look it up on the Orange website if you feel so inclined.
Cool. Okay, so both amps on together sound thusly.
Check out Barney Kessel over there.
Barney Rubble.
That was nice. What was that? Was that a...
It's an E major 7 sharp 11. More information on that on my chord blog.
If it's ever about chords.
we got to build up the chords. You got to walk first.
I can't play that chord. Regular viewers will also know I've got another Strat.
That sounds lovely.
Major 7 tonality to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this in the ongoing Strat vlog. I'm not going to say any more about that, but I wanted a control guitar for swapping pickups in and out. So I bought this on a whim on Reverb for 950 quid off a very nice man.
Look how thin the lacquer is on the back.
These are the best, most accurate American vintage reissues they ever made. And it took me ages to find one for the right price. It's been very well played, which is a good sign. Yes.
I'm going to have to get one now before the show goes out. Now you've said that.
It sounds much strattier than my Strat.
Lovely.
More in my Strat vlog coming soon, but I'm getting used to it and seeing where it lives.
It's really nice.
What's that, 10 minutes? No talk of flangers yet? Almost.
We've touched on it. Right. Okay, so let's start with the Mistress. I'll show you what I've always really loved about the Mistress. So if we turn the Mistress on. So, tonally, that top end and that shimmer, there's nothing has ever come close. But you've found that its weakness. It pulls down the level. So, the first time I started using them, I noticed that as soon as I clicked it on, it pulled it down enough to take me out of the mix.
And drops quite a bit of low end out as well, does it?
Yeah. So
that could be quite useful if you've got gain on and you lose some of that low end, but with a lovely big clean sound, it just sounds weaker, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it's that shimmery top end that I love. So that's been when I've been looking for a replacement for that. I mean, so I love the Mistress, but I'd always be using it basically in parallel to blend in that into the signal.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't lose everything and I'd just blend that stuff in on top. But yeah, that's been my my
go-to.
benchmark, my benchmark for the tonality of the flanger that I wanted. That's 1976. Yeah, it's amazing. If you have listened to it with some gain on as well. So we've got the Harlot, the Kingsley Harlot version 2.
Version 3. It's the latest Harlot.
Version 3. Sorry,
Kingsley.
it is version
Hello,
3.
Simon, if you're watching. Full range overdrive, tube overdrive, valve overdrive that does everything from kind of not very gainy to very gainy and with an extra more switch as well. We'll hear it through the show, but... I think I'm hearing a fairly aggressive top end out of this orange. I'm just going to tame that a little bit.
Yep.
Give it some Stummer maybe. Yeah, there's a bit of a fizz on top of the orange there, which is characteristic of an orange type overdrive, I would say, even though the amp's not particularly overdriving. Brand new speaker, so maybe that's a bit of that. Cool. We didn't actually get onto the flanger. We were just listening to the
yeah. So but that's the Harlot. So, you know, like all of Simon stuff, it's big and throaty and just wonderful. Now, when I kick the Mistress on top of that sound, have a listen. And you can hear that little bit of movement in the top end, which is why Davey G is such a massive fan of the Mistress. That's, you know, you hear that in that.
The top end is so well defined. There's loads of it there.
Yeah.
And in fact, that slight fizz that's coming out of the orange is benefiting us because we're able to really, really, really hear it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nice.
So that's got to have that. Got to have that.
And that's what back to the point earlier, that's what you miss in a kind of modern multi-effect digital simulation. Yeah. So in something like the Boss MD500 or the
Strymon Mobius.
Yeah, Mobius. That's what you miss in that sound.
Very much so.
Even though they have EQ and you can roll it on, it's not the same thing, is it? It's a presence rather than a treble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's right up there. It's right up there. Okay, so the other thing that's important for me to replace that is because I went to Japan and found this beautiful BF1 that you can see in our travel vlog. And now this is what happens when you turn on the BF1. So all things vintage in nature.
It's a handy beatbox.
It is a handy beatbox.
But not much use as a flanger.
Not much use as a flanger.
What's causing that?
I have no idea. So, well, let me think. That's getting on for, it's 40-something years old. Electrolytic capacitors, really, at a stretch, 30 years. You know, so there's a lot in that. I'm going to have to go in there and test some things out. But...
Okay.
Yeah, so
we need a modern solution.
So I want a modern solution.
Yeah.
Now I've been having a play, and I've already found the thing. But what was really interesting is with these 4 modern flanges, plus that one, is they all have their own thing, which is awesome. There's something about each of them that I really, really like. Yeah.
So when are we gonna? Your requirement for a flanger isn't the jet plane thing.
No.
Even though the ADA does it, and I think the Komo Rebi does it.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm going to start calling it the Dreadbox soon. Does the Camoflange do it?
Yeah, to a lesser degree, but it does it.
Yeah.
Not with the same sort of intensity. But
and you're also
there.
not looking for the through zero thing.
No. No.
Okay, which is a separate thing, which we're not necessarily going to talk about today. So let's just get those off the
I
table.
want to be able to do the chorusing thing,
Yeah.
as the flanger thing, and and to have that sibilance in the top end. To be honest, it's something that I probably overuse when I'm doing solos, because I just I love that the definition that you get from having those sorts of frequencies there, and it makes me really focus on what I'm doing, because there's you hear exactly where I'm putting that attack. You hear and because I'm kind of a pushy player, it does make me sort of think and focus and try and pull back a little bit, as opposed to if I just had a really big warm sound, I could probably get away with a bit more. You know what I mean? But I love just hearing that, not ice pick, but just those real sibilance frequencies on, when as soon as the pick touches the strings, it's all there. Probably why I've gone for like the Matchless that has all that presency stuff.
Yeah,
there.
you really like that, don't you? You
really like
which is odd, because you're quite sensitive to harsh treble frequencies.
Yeah.
So,
very much so. Very much so. So there's a frequency range, sort of upper treble, that can be really hard to listen to, but this is sort of beyond that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's have a listen. Let's have a listen to some then.
Okay, so let's start with the Spark.
Yeah.
This is one that we've had for a bit, and it's you have a play. You tell me what you think.
I've never been able to get a fantastic sound out of this, to be honest. To me, it doesn't work as well as the Elect Lady.
Right.
And I'm not sure why that is. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but there's those 4 little knobs on the back there. It says what they are on the top.
You have a play.
Okay. Just going to turn the reverb down a little bit in the orange.
So that's the most intense sound I can get out of that flanger.
And the top end is
there.
It's quite nicely there. Yeah.
So for a mild, genteel flange, and they're really inexpensive as well. Taylor.
Where are the flangers in relation to the Overdrive at the moment?
Overdrive's before them.
So you prefer it that way?
Generally.
Let's make sure we do that before the end of the video. So let's just hit it with some Overdrive for a sec then.
Yep.
And
So it's cool. It's definitely cool.
yeah. I was just wondering if hitting it with a bit more
Love.
signal would encourage more flange.
Sure. And so when you are introducing those harmonics to the input that we have, with an overdrive pedal, then the flange is really awesome at taking those harmonics and, because of that really short delay time, and when you have that regeneration, it takes those harmonics and really sort of pushes them forward. I think that's part of the reason I, so into that thing.
All right, you've introduced a technical term,
Right.
which is regeneration.
So regeneration. Regeneration is what happens when, if you imagine, the main difference between a chorus and a flanger is?
Shorter delay time.
Exactly. So let's say we have our chorus and that's around 30 milliseconds, plus or minus, and we reduce the, Taylor.
I'm going to go again. Is a flange 100% wet?
No. No, because you have to have, for the flanger to do its thing, you have to have the direct signal for the flanger to move around to create that comb filter. Otherwise, you just get this vibrato, which we can demonstrate in a bit. But the chorus, to say 30 milliseconds, and then we drop that down to 18 milliseconds thereabouts, plus or minus. And if you imagine that the waveform now has been, so you've got your original waveform, and then we've added the delay on top of that, and we've dropped that down. Drop the delay time down, and so the waveforms are really close to each other, and you get what we call a comb filter, and that's where all those harmonics and everything start jumping out. It's wonderful stuff. Now, when we start moving modulating the delay time, so that delay time moves up and down, and then so do the peaks and troughs of those frequencies. Now, what we then do with the delay is that if we feed it back into itself, so it's the same thing that you do with just the repeats on normal delay.
When you go for self oscillation on a
but it's even just having the repeats that basically that delay is fed back into itself, and it just repeats. And the more that you put that so the regeneration, that's called, the more that you have those repeats going through, the more these the harmonics and that sort of get, it's almost like self oscillation. It's exactly what it is.
Okay, is it always called regeneration? Because I'm noticing that here we've got a knob called manual. On there we've got one called
color.
And on here we've got one called feedback. That's all doing the same thing,
all
is it?
Doing the same thing.
Should we hear that then?
Yep, sure.
Because this one was doing it pretty well earlier, so should we listen to that one?
Yeah. Okay, so. So you're here as the delay time modulates, there'll be a point where it modulates, and then the regeneration basically goes into self-modulation, and then the delay time comes back, so it moves back out of self-modulation.
Is the delay modulation one cycle of that we can hear?
Yeah, exactly right. So
and that'll
it
go
speeds up and slows down.
So you're saying how many? About 18 to whatever, or what's the range?
So let's say the center's 18.
Yeah.
So it might drop down to 10.
Yeah.
And then go up to 20. Or smaller, depending. If we start with a lower delay time, smaller delay time, it's about percentages of.
Yeah. Okay, let's just hear that again. I'm going to turn the rate right down to very low.
Okay.
And then up faster. And what you'll hear a full cycle. And what Dan's talking about is that, what he just explained, one cycle of the delay time modulation.
Yeah.
And then there's no
That's exactly right. There's no modulation.
So we go from a
static,
and that says low frequency oscillation. Is that what that means? LFO.
LFO. Yep.
Yeah. Low frequency oscillator.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. So is that doing something in it? That's obviously doing something in addition to just varying the delay time.
No, because we've got the feedback up so high.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got the rate going down so low. So basically, as it slows down and we get those, it starts to self-oscillate.
Yeah.
And then it just then comes back out of it.
And stops because you're varying the delay time.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Seeing as we're talking about this one then, it looks complex. What's all this stuff?
So that...
Oh, these are like Eurorack things,
Exactly. So you can make this a part of a Eurorack thing and send its LFO out, and it's look, I really, really like it. So if we just have a look at this, because it obviously it does the full on thing, right?
So that
Different waveform.
just goes all the way down and then straight back up to the top and then all the way down and then the other way. Just hear that sound? Okay. Would have been quicker with a slower rate, right? With a faster rate. Awesome.
It's great, and it's great fun.
People have been asking me about this guitar recently, so I thought I'd play it. It's a Supro something or other with one gold foil type pickup in there. And I have it. I'm just messing around with it. I'm not really doing anything with it, but it's tuned down a step.
Oh, cool.
I thought,
oh yeah,
as we were hearing the lovely low end, I
Yep.
thought it might be a nice opportunity for that. That sounds totally killer.
It's great, isn't it? It's a lot of fun. It really is. And so I love that one for the some more out there experimental type things.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely wonderful.
Yep.
Can you imagine Yanis from Jam Pedals with that in his rig?
I'm pretty sure he had one on there.
Did
didn't
he? Okay, well there you go. That probably
I seem to
sounds about
remember
right.
when we were sat there watching him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for that experimental, really, really cool. You can get really killer straight flanger sounds, as we've heard.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite have that the top endy thing, but
Okay.
the scope and the depth it goes to, and that's awesome.
And of
Absolutely
course
awesome.
that additional Euro rack style control connections puts it in that world as well.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating world. That's something I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Maybe we can learn about something over time. That's my get out of that. Let's touch on this briefly,
Okay.
because we have featured this before.
Sure. So the ADA originally, it was really widely used in the 80s. It was a bigger unit, and they re-released these probably 4 years ago. We've had it on the show before, and so it does a couple of things brilliantly. So if you ever play for us,
Shall I go back to a more regular guitar?
or not,
This sounds great.
It does sound great.
I'll play it for a little while. Yeah.
So a couple of really cool things about this one. You have a level control.
Yeah.
So you can obviously control the level. You got a couple of bass options here. More or less bass. You have the regeneration control on this one's called Enhance. And then you have this even and odd order harmonics. So you can you can choose between, we're talking about the harmonics that are added in. You can choose whether they are even or odd.
What does that sound like?
Okay, have a play.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you play, because you know what to play.
So the odd is almost subtler.
I thought the one on the left was subtler.
Oh, okay. I think there's more bottom end with the odd.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
But there's definitely there's a difference there, and I really like that, and it does good.
Does the crazy
Does the
regen,
crazy?
doesn't it? Can you play this rhythm for me? Doot 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 doot, and let it ring
All right.
on like a low E power chord.
Yep.
Reminds me of Paul Gilbert.
Yeah. So that would be to have a little extra footage on there that would just like momentarily kick to that thing, and that's what Paul Gilbert has on his aeroplane flanger.
Yeah.
That's exactly how he does that.
Yep. That's what it was reminding me of.
Yep.
So
So
there you
I think for the rock stuff, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Really, really great. But it does some you can dial it all back and get some really cool standard flange sounds out of it. It's really, really nice. In fact, and I did use that for a while. You know,
yeah, but you don't need the crazy stuff.
I don't need the crazy stuff.
No.
I don't need the crazy stuff.
Okay, Retrosonic. Who they?
Retrosonic. So Retrosonic have done had some really great pedals, and so they did a version of the C1, which was really cool. And so this is basically their take on the Mistress,
Right.
right? So it's the Mistress, but it also has an added level control. Okay. So again, if we remind ourselves what the Mistress sounds like. Okay, and this is the Retrosonic.
It's very good.
It's really, really nice.
Does that just fix the
Turns the LFO off,
yeah,
and then you can
but the delay time is still
so you can move. Yeah, so you've got the range. Hang on, let's have a look. Yeah, it's interesting because the color is the regeneration, so it just it turns off the LFO and just gives you that fixed point. But it's a really cool sound, especially with the. Actually, have a go on that with some. Give it some love.
I will get a more traditional guitar, I think.
Okay,
I haven't played this in ages. PRS DGT.
beautiful. Now, if we compare that to the
Yep.
it's great. It's really great. It might just be that I have a very bright Mistress. The top end isn't exactly the same, but it's really close. It's really close. The closest I've heard.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just where the things were set, but I was preferring the Mistress if I'm hand on heart. Honest.
But it's it's really, really great.
Yeah.
I think if you're, I would be very happy with, if I'm in the studio and I can treat it with kid gloves or doing what we do, it's fine. Mistress, awesome. But if you're touring,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a sound that you need. It's killer.
I think it's also important to say, isn't it, when you're A/Bing stuff like that, the differences just leap out at you immediately.
Yeah.
But actually, you spend 3 minutes not listening to it and you've forgotten what the Mistress sounds
of course.
like.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a better or worse thing when you do that. It's always just it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
No better, no worse, just
absolutely.
slightly different.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's fantastic.
Okay. Then, well, it's not giving away anything to say that the Camoflange is your fave and you've been excited about this, so that's why we've left it till last.
Right. So
why has it got 6 knobs?
Okay. We'll get into the knobs, but it's very cool. Years ago, so Dan Coggins, amazing designer, designed all of the Love Tone pedals, and then had his own brand.
Did Footloose
called
and Danger Zone.
He did. So then he had a brand called Dinosaur. Now he has been working with Thorpy, and so years ago, Dan tells me that I've been working on a flanger. And would you like to hear it? I said, yeah. So he brought around a breadboard just with components and the stuff, and there's wires everywhere, and I plugged it in and just went, it was magic. And that was, that was pre-show, so 5 years ago. And then he starts working with Thorpy, and Thorpy and him work on it together. And then I got a call from Thorpy, says, you got to hear this thing. I said, brought it over. And I've just been speechless. Welling up.
He's welling up about it, which is odd. I like the way you went into the BBC standard present tense when you were talking about historical narrative.
Was that bad?
No, it was great. It was really good. It's an editorial decision I've noticed on the BBC, where if they've got one of those historians on, they will say something like, so Napoleon gathers his armies and he says to his generals, we need to go and stuff those people that we need to stuff over there.
As opposed to gathered his armies.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice. It adds drama to the narrative, and I think you did a good job of that, Dan.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so why has this Camoflange had such an effect on me? So let me show you. First of all, you have all your rate, depth, and manual as you would have on the Mistress.
Yeah.
But then we have this magic knob here. Okay, so it has a blend control. So you can go from your original signal and just blend in a hair. So
It seems so obvious that it's got a blooming treble control on it.
it's got a treble control on it. So now why is that really important? Because all the top end, the crazy Mistress top end is there. So I can get, so for example, if I'm using it to do solo stuff and I want that sibilance there, but I want to blend it in. Okay, so I'll make the flange quite bright. And I'll just blend it in a hair. Okay, so you see what I mean? It has all the body, but that shimmer.
Yeah.
I blend that in, okay? Oh, right, so then I can warm it up, and then we have the manual control. So I can go between the tighter, flangier sounds. Okay, so awesome. And then we have this control here, which is harmonics control. So like we have the even and odd order harmonics here,
Yep.
it's in the center, it basically does nothing. But then if we go full on to the left, we get regenerative odd order harmonics, which sounds best if I put on a bit of love. Just blend a bit of that in. For me, for what I do, I have never played a flanger that ticks all those boxes.
When you told me and you said, "Oh, this is really great and it's really different," I'm like, come on, they all sound kind of the same. Certainly when you get them in a mix. Clearly they don't sound the same, but they to split hairs between, it's a bit like talking about clones. Which is the best clone?
Yep.
They all sound the blooming same, don't they? Or they sound similar enough for it kind of to be a moot point.
Sure.
And I think so far we've heard some sonic differences and some functionality differences in the case of the Dreadbox, and at that point it's a sort of it's a personal decision, isn't it?
Sure.
So I wasn't sure what you were going to say about the Camoflange that made any sense, but just the addition of those two knobs, the treble control, I mean the harmonics one, that's a subtlety that's probably beyond me.
Sure.
But the blend control and the treble control, they solve the two problems that I have personally with flangers.
Yeah.
Which is it's either too much or I don't like the tone of it, and you can fix those two things immediately.
Yeah. So the harmonics thing is basically the regeneration.
Yeah.
But you can either do it with odd order harmonics or even order harmonics.
Yeah.
And like I said, it doesn't do the airplane flanging thing like the Dreadbox or the ADA, but I can go in that direction, so I can do a chug thing and that sort of thing. But for what I want to have that crystalline flange movement in the top end and just blend that in,
Perfetto.
just honestly
Great.
It's an absolute work of art. So he uses, for example, I know the effort that's gone in to get it to do this. So it's got the NOS Matsushita chips in it, so they've gone full on down the.
That's important, is it?
Yeah.
Is that what was in the old thing?
No, so the old thing's got Panasonic chips in it.
Right.
But they've found sort of new old stock Bucket Brigade chips.
Stuff they don't make anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
sure,
because
sure.
when they tried everything out, they tried the new stuff out, they said, well, that's what we need to make this sound.
That works.
It's just magic. I'm over the moon.
Very cool. Okay. All right. So clearly that's your favourite one. Let's, I think we've gone along on this one. So let's finally, can we just hear briefly, we'll stay on the Camoflange and let's do distortion before and after.
Sure.
Just to hear that.
So this is the overdrive before the Camoflange. And this is it after.
switch between those for me a sec, can you? It was all that talk of Kenny Loggins is what made that happen, and I'm really sorry.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
I used to play that.
The theme from Top Gun, played by Steve Stevens, I believe.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I used to play that in a band.
Steve Stevens is such an amazingly lovely human being.
Killer. Have you? What's his? Is it Space Cowboys? There's a band that he had. I heard an album. Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, yes, amazing.
We should do the ray gun thing. You know, the ray gun.
I love that.
Kids ray gun, cross pickup, does something to the something, and it makes a crazy, awesome sound. That was a technical explanation. Okay, right. So sales pitch for the Thorpy Camoflange well and truly over.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm only talking from what I need.
Yeah.
If I was, if I really, really, really just wanted the electric Mistress, I'd probably have to have both of these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the studio, I'd need the old one on there.
Yeah, but that's on your board, out and about.
Exactly.
And let's give an honorary shout to the Mooer Elect Lady, which does end up on your board, has ended up on your board many times as a kind of a budget option.
Yeah. The Spark, a great budget option if you just want a flavour of that.
I don't like the sound of it. I think the Elect Lady sounds much better than that.
Sure.
If I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree.
And I use the term better in a, I prefer it.
Yeah, I'll use the term better. Okay. You can prefer it.
Okay.
I'll say it sounds better. The ADA is a classic, and it does that, all the jet plane stuff, and you've got loads of different options. It's really flexible. And the Dreadbox, I mean, for experimental noises and stuff, it's incredible.
Yeah. It has a very clear appeal.
I think. And it looks awesome too. I love the way it looks. It's so cool. I've been
shout out to guitar nerds. If you don't follow guitar nerds on Instagram, please do. Friends of ours, Matt and Joe, and they love pink things.
Okay.
Yeah. So makes me think of them.
Very good. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and also click on the little notification bell so that you will get notified anytime a new video comes out from That Pedal Show. Also, a massive thank you to anyone that's gone to That Pedal Show store and bought some t-shirts.
We have we've got all kinds of new t-shirts and various other things, so please go and check those out.
Yep. Also, massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Guys, thank you so much. We couldn't do what we do without you.
Thank you indeed.
Thank you. Also, to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderson's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
Lee called me yesterday.
Right.
To say happy birthday.
Let's give him a... old man noises.
And I did get a message from Matt too at...
Pedal Empire in Brisbane, Queensland.
Brisbane and Queensland.
Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you very much. So I was sort of angling that in there.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I didn't actually buy. I normally buy a present. I didn't buy a present this year.
Just being with you. In your presence.
Coda Music do have a used matchless 2x12 in. I did think about buying that for you, but it's quite a lot of money. Because the truth is, you'd be buying half of it.
Okay. Then. Let's make that work. Brilliant. Okay, cheers, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye.